I never imagined waking up to a BMW horn blaring at 6:47 a.m. every single day. Yet, that's exactly what started happening the morning Karen moved into the corner lot. Not just any Karen. The HOA President Karen, the one who carried a laminated copy of the bylaws in her Louis Vuitton, like it was sacred scripture, ready to enforce them with divine fury. Starting with my driveway. Day one, I opened my garage to leave for work, and there it was, her pristine 2023 BMW X5, parked sideways, perfectly blocking both my cars in. She stood on her lawn in yoga pants and a visor, sipping a green smoothie, grinning like she just invented happiness. I rolled down my window, keeping it polite, and said, "Hey, could you maybe move forward a few feet? I can't get out." She didn't even glance at me, just lifted one finger, not the middle one, but it felt the same, and said, "Section 7.4, no parking within 15 feet of a driveway. You're welcome." Then she strolled inside. I sat there, stunned. My driveway? She's blocking my driveway, and somehow I'm the problem. Later that night, I checked the bylaws. Section 7.4 only applied to the street side of the curb. My garage? Private property. She knew, absolutely knew. The next morning, repeat, sideways BMW, horn at 6:47 on the dot, green smoothie, fake smile. Except now she had backup. 2 other HOA board members power walking, filming me on their phones for documentation. I had to call in sick just to wait for a tow truck that never came, because technically she wasn't on my property, just close enough that leaving was impossible. By day 5, the whole neighborhood was tuned in. People slowed to watch the daily spectacle, like it was live TV. Kids made TikTok duets. Someone started a betting pool on how long I'd last before snapping. I began parking 2 streets away and Ubering home to dodge humiliation. My wife stopped inviting friends over because Karen would scream about curb appeal violations the second a car pulled in. Then came the notes. Bright pink post-its every night, slapped on my windshield. Consider being a better neighbor. Trash bins visible 7 minutes past 8 a.m. smile. Beautiful day to follow rules. One night, she even left a printed photo of my garage, a red circle around a tiny oil spot, labeled Environmental Hazard Reported. I tried everything. Nicely, firmly, emailing the HOA board, all her Pilates buddies, filing a formal complaint that vanished from a portal. Nothing worked. She had power, time, and a brand new BMW she adored more than oxygen. Then one Tuesday, after the 23rd consecutive morning of being trapped in my own driveway while she laughed, I made a quiet decision. I called a concrete guy from high school and told him I needed 4 steel bollards installed, the kind banks use, unbreakable, painted HOA-approved sandstone beige, so she couldn't complain about color. He hesitated. "You sure? This feels nuclear." I said, "Just do it before I end up on the news." 2 days later, the posts went in 6 feet apart, right at the driveway edge, lined up like soldiers. I added reflective strips and sent photos to the city for permits. All approved, private property, all legal. The next morning, 6:47 a.m., right on schedule, I heard it. Not the gentle beep-beep she usually did to wake the street, but a full-on horn panic scream. I stepped outside in my robe with coffee, like it was a Super Bowl. There was Karen, red-faced, screaming next to her BMW, now crumpled around my center bollard like a horseshoe. Airbags deployed, green smoothie smeared across the windshield like abstract art. The car was sideways, exactly where it always had been. Only this time it wouldn't move again. She saw me, trembling finger pointed, shrieking, "You did this on purpose." I took a sip of coffee, calm as ever, and said, "Section 7.4, Karen. No parking within 15 feet of a driveway. You're welcome." The neighbors. People actually started applauding. Someone whipped out a phone to record. And that was just a warm-up, because what Karen pulled next is when everything truly went off the rails. The tow truck guy took one glance at her mangled BMW, wrapped around my steel post like a clingy ex who won't move on, and burst out laughing. "Ma'am, this is the most entertaining job I've had all year." Meanwhile, Karen was shrieking into her phone with 911, insisting I'd set deadly traps and attempted murder via landscaping. The responding officer recognized me from coaching his kid's little league team. He skimmed through my permits, looked at the posts, paced off the distance with the toe of his boot, and told her, "Ma'am, this is private property. You struck a stationary object. That's an at-fault accident. Have a wonderful evening." Karen detonated. Absolute meltdown mode. She demanded an HOA emergency meeting that same night. Yes, those apparently exist, and insisted I be removed from the neighborhood immediately. She passed around glossy pictures of her demolished BMW with captions like "domestic terrorism on Maple Drive." Half the people were munching on the cookies she brought. The other half eyed me like I might whip out a grenade. I still went. Walked in with a folder thicker than her entire bylaws manual. First slide on projector. 28 days of time-stamped ring footage. Every single morning. Her car blocking my garage. Her waving. Her smirking. Her refusing to move. Second slide. The city permit, stamped and official. Third slide. A zoom in on the reflective tape, and the tiny sign reading "No parking, fixed obstruction." Silence swallowed the room. Karen shot to her feet, veins ready to burst. Those posts are hideous. They ruin curb appeal. I'm fining him $25,000 for unauthorized changes. I smiled and clicked to the next slide, an email from City Planning, dated 3 weeks earlier, where Karen herself tried to sabotage my permit and was told in writing, "Homeowner is fully within rights on private property. Request denied." You could practically hear her spirit exiting her body, but she still wasn't done. The next 48 hours were straight pandemonium. She filed liens on my house. Fake ones she clearly printed on her home office inkjet. She sent her husband, a guy who looked like he wanted to crawl into the earth and disappear, to stand in my driveway with a tape measure, claiming the posts were 6 inches into the easement. They weren't. Then she created a neighborhood Facebook group called Stop the Baller Bully and posted AI-generated pictures of my house with swastikas spray painted across the garage. Classy. After that came the 4 a.m. calls. Unknown numbers screaming that my kids would pay the price. Someone egged my door nightly for a week. My wife found nails scattered behind our tires twice. I added more cameras. Caught Karen in crisp 4K at 2:13 a.m., black hoodie on, sprinkling nails like some deranged Tinkerbell. Sent that to the police. They stopped by her place. She played victim so dramatically the officer almost felt sorry. Almost. Insurance totaled her BMW. She argued, claiming the posts magically shifted. They sent out an engineer. He laughed harder than the tow truck driver. By then, the whole mess blew up locally. News vans lined the street. Someone even made shirts, "Free the Driveway." My ring clips hit 1 million views on TikTok. Karen started wearing big sunglasses and a scarf like she was hiding from paparazzi. Then she scheduled a special assessment vote to charge every homeowner $500 to help buy her a new car for community safety. Only 12 people bothered showing up, and 8 were there just to flip her off. That's when she officially slid from villain to full-blown unhinged. One night, I woke to my wife screaming. I bolted outside barefoot. Karen was on my lawn with a cordless sawzall, tried to hack through the steel posts. Sparks flying everywhere. An extension cord snaking back to her own outdoor outlet. She was across the street like some kind of tripwire, dressed in bunny slippers and a silk robe, hair in curlers, screaming at the top of her lungs. "I paid for this street," she yelled. The sawzall blade snapped mid-cut, ricocheting and slicing her own forearm open. Blood sprayed everywhere. She glared at me wide-eyed and whispered, "This isn't over." Cops arrived again. EMS patched her up right on my driveway while she insisted I had attacked her with a samurai sword. They checked the cameras and saw the whole thing. She left with citations for vandalism, trespassing, and destruction of property. I thought that would be the finale. I was very wrong. The next morning, a process server arrived with papers. Karen was suing me for $250,000, claims of emotional distress, loss of enjoyment of life, and permanent disfigurement from the Sawzall incident. That's when I discovered why she had been targeting me from day one. A secret so buried that her own lawyer accidentally exposed it with the wrong attachment. That revelation? That's what broke the internet and destroyed Karen forever. The lawsuit paper sat on my kitchen island like a loaded weapon. 250 grand, permanent disfigurement, intentional infliction of emotional distress. Karen even included glossy close-ups of the 3-inch scar on her arm, circled in red like crime scene evidence. My lawyer laughed so hard, he almost spilled his coffee. She literally cut herself with her own Sawzall at 3:17 a.m. while trespassing. Discovery began, and that's when the universe handed me a winning lottery ticket. Karen's lawyer, clearly in it for TikTok fame, attached the wrong PDF by mistake. One click, and there it was. The original purchase contract for a corner lot from 6 years prior. Page 27, Exhibit C. Hidden in the fine print. A recorded easement granting my property permanent. Unrestricted vehicular access across the corner of her lot to reach the alley behind my garage. This easement dated back to 1978, long before either of us existed. Translation: Karen never owned a strip of land under her driveway. She had been blocking my legal right-of-way for years. Zooming in, heart pounding, I saw the easement was 20 feet wide, and her driveway sat smack in the middle. She had literally paved over my property and weaponized fake HOA rules to keep me off it. It got better. Page 43 contained a handwritten note from the previous owner, stapled to the contract. Buyer-aware easement is active. Seller disclosed verbally. Buyer laughed and said HOA will fix that. She knowingly bought the house without fully owning the land under her driveway and spent 6 years terrorizing me to protect that lie. My lawyer printed everything in color, tabbed it, and walked into mediation like a man carrying dynamite. Karen sat across from me in a cream blazer, scarf tied around her neck, like she was auditioning for Real Housewives of Orange County. She smirked, ready to settle terrorist. My lawyer slid the easement survey across the table, then the contract, then the handwritten note, then city records showing the easement had never been vacated. Karen's face went from Botox frozen to pure human horror in 2.4 seconds. Her lawyer started sweating bullets. We can discuss a quiet resolution, he stammered. Karen snatched the papers, eyes darting. This is forged. My lawyer hit play on his laptop. Drone footage I had commissioned 2 days prior showed bright orange paint marking the legal boundaries. Her BMW, her driveway, her precious rose garden, all on my easement. The same footage uploaded to YouTube under HOA President Bill entire life on stolen land. 4.2 million views and climbing. Karen jumped so fast her chair toppled. You can't do this. I finally spoke. Watch me. We left mediation without a single penny exchanged. Instead, Karen signed a full release of claims, quit the HOA board effective immediately, and agreed to remove her driveway at her own expense within 60 days, or face daily city fines. She moved 3 weeks later. Not just moved, vanished. The for sale sign went up overnight. Price slashed twice in 4 days. Rumor has it she took a $180,000 loss to escape. Her husband filed for divorce the same week, taking the dog and moving in with his brother. Someone spotted Karen at Walmart in sweatpants buying box wine at 10 a.m. No visor, no green smoothie, no laminated bylaws. I paved the easement into a beautiful extended driveway, added a basketball hoop for kids, and neighbors use it daily. Block parties happen there. Someone even installed a plaque reading, "Freedom begins here." Last I heard, Karen tried starting over in a new subdivision 2 hours away. She showed up at the first HOA meeting ready to dominate. They already knew her. The video of her saw meltdown has 39 million views now, turned into an NFT and even a ringtone. She lasted 6 days before the new neighborhood voted to ban her from all common areas for the community's mental health. Karma doesn't always need steel posts. Sometimes it just needs the truth, a good drone, and one accidental email. And every morning at 6:47 a.m., when my garage door opens smooth and free, I still smile, raise my coffee, and whisper 6 words. Section 7.4. Karen, you're welcome. If you enjoyed this story, hit subscribe. Every new subscription motivates me to bring you more dramatic HOA tales. Don't forget the bell icon so you never miss an upload. I'll see you in the next story, where justice gets even sweeter.